Alright guys, welcome back to another tying video with Old Florida. Today we're going to be tying Mark Giacobba's Backcountry Gurgler. This is an incredible topwater fly for flamingo in Everglades National Park. Chokoloskee as well, 10,000 islands, anywhere like that. We're going to take our thread, we're going to just start it right behind the eye of the hook. We're going to come right in between the barb and the point of the hook. Next thing we're going to do is take our staz, tie that in right on top the shank of the hook. Nice couple tight wraps, working our way right in front of the barb and in front of the point. We're just going to palmer this forward with like 3 or 4 wraps. Once we have that done, I'm going to do 1 or 2 back wraps to line my thread up with the staz. I'm going to capture it with 2 wraps and put 3 wraps right in front nice and tight so I know it's not going to come out. And we could trim that off. Next step we're going to do, take some craft fur and orangutan rust. I'm going to cut that off the hide. Once we got that off, I'm going to turn it around and pull out the under fur. Then I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to make a really nice taper exactly how I want it. I'm actually going to grab just a little more craft fur because I don't think I grabbed enough the first time. Just going to mate that up with the other one. Alright, so once we got our desired taper, nice little candle wick shape, we're going to measure about 2.5 lengths the shank of the hook. We're going to give a nice pinch and we're going to tie that in right on top of the hook shank. Just going to keep wrapping forward a little bit. We're going to stop right before, maybe a full eye length back on the hook shank, and then trim all that off. Give a nice smooth little surface to tie down on. Cover that up a little bit. Going to move our thread right behind that craft fur, leaving a small little gap. Next step is we're going to come in here with our shrimp dub brush. We're going to tie that in right behind that small little gap that we have. Nice and tight. And then we're actually going to fall off that little ramp that we created. So that's what we should be at right now. Small little gap in front of the craft fur. And our thread should be sitting in that little ramp that we fell off at. Then I'm going to start palmering this forward. You don't have to do too many wraps palmering this forward. It doesn't have to be super tight palmering. It could just be a couple looser wraps. And then we're going to fall off this little ramp that we built. Take our bodkin, separate those fibers, capture it, give a few nice securing wraps to that material right there. I'm going to come in here with my cutters, trim that wire off. Then I'm going to come in here with my bodkin again, and I'm really going to pick all those fibers out. This is actually really important in this fly because I'll show you why in the next step. I actually like to come in here with a little comb as well and really make sure that I got all of them. Alright, once we got that done, we're going to take our fingers and we're going to separate all those fibers at the top, and we're just going to pull them and rotate our fingers to the side, making all that fiber lay down like that, trying not to capture the craft fur. Next step is we're going to take our 2mm fly foam and we're just going to cut the pieces about 1 centimeter pieces right off the side of this foam. I'm going to take our first one. We're going to tie that in right in the middle, leaving a nice little lip. We'll trim this up later, but just tie in a nice little lip right there. I like to put 3 wraps and 2 or 3 whip finishes, making sure that's nice and secure. You don't have to go crazy securing that down because you'll see why in the next step. I'm going to come back in here. I'm just going to cut this roughly just to shorten that up. Then I'm going to come in here, I'm going to take my dubbing brush, shrimp dub brush, move it back, go right behind the estaz and in front of the brush, and put 3 or 4 nice tight wraps, making sure that you captured the tag end of your thread to restart it. And then I'm going to go ahead and whip finish that right there again with 3. And then we could cut our thread off again. Next step is just making sure everything is nice and straight. And we're going to measure where we want to mate up with that piece. And we could start our thread again right in front. Trim the tag end. Take our piece of foam that we trimmed off. We're going to tie down that second piece of foam. I like to do 2 or 3 really tight wraps and then a set of 3 whip finishes. That's more than enough for this fly. The foam actually keeps it nice and protected, your thread. I'm going to come in here again and do the same exact thing right in front of the shrimp dub brush, right behind the estaz. 3 wraps, 4 wraps, trim our thread. Come in here again and whip finish. We could cut our thread off now. If you trapped some of the craft fur, it's okay. You could actually just pull it out and it'll just come right out. Next thing we're going to do, take our scissors on that bottom piece. We're going to cut that nice and straight. Take our scissors, go right to the eye of the hook, and split that right down the middle. And you're going to get this nice little V shape that we want. And then fold that foam back over. And we're going to do the exact same step on the back after we trim this foam. We're going to trim that right there. We're going to lift the top piece, lift the bottom piece, slide our scissors right on top of the craft fur, and slit that bottom one so it looks like that. And then just fold that back over. And we're going to come in here. We're just going to shorten this brush just a little bit. We don't want it getting hung up on anything on the hook. Just going to come in here and kind of taper these feelers to the fly. And right about a little bit past the hook point is where you want them. The last thing we're going to do is take our Sharpie and we're going to bar this brush with 2 little bars. And then that's going to be the done gurgler. This is just an absolutely incredible pattern for the backcountry. It just pushes so much water. This double foam really allows for a lot of water to make a commotion, grabbing the attention of fish. Mark Giacobba's Backcountry Gurgler. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll hope to see you next time.